Game over, man. It's game over.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the first ever Nostalged gaming video. And we're going to be starting with my top 10 favourite PlayStation 1 games. I love the PlayStation 1. Is it my favourite console of all time? No. We'll do another top 10 list for my favourite consoles, but spoilers, PS1, that'll be near the top. Growing up in a council estate in Manchester with two big brothers, there wasn't piles of money to go around. So the NES, the SNES, the Mega Drive, we had to share them. But when we got that PlayStation 1 for Christmas in 1997, that was mine, and mine alone. Me mum couldn't afford to get us the console and the games, so for the first few months I was stuck playing the Demo 1 disc that would come with it. But then, at the age of 13, I got my first job washing pots in a hotel, and I bought a new game every month, and I mean every month. So this list, it was really tough. I went back and forth for hours trying to finalise my top 10, but here it is, my top 10 favourite PlayStation 1 games. And don't forget, that's why we call it top 10 favourites and not top 10 best. If you don't agree with my top 10, let me know in the comments. This game. Damn, this game was so much fun. But be careful, it can ruin friendships. Kamikaze! This was the game to bust out on a Friday night when you're having a sleepover with your mates. There was such a wide array of ways to blow up your best friends. My personal favourite has to be that sheep cluster bomb. Watching that cute little sheep barring and bouncing along, and then it'd explode and take out a gang of worms. Awesome, just awesome. I need to get this game back out and play my daughter on it. It's just awesome. When I mentioned earlier that I had to make do with the demo disc for the first couple of months when I first had the console, Abes Odyssey was one of them games that I played on it. I must have completed that first level on the demo at least a dozen times. So, the second I got enough spends saved up, Abes Odyssey was one of the first games I bought. And Abes Odyssey isn't just a pick up and play game. I mean, it's difficult. That freaky little guy has to get his way through all these different puzzles and difficult levels. But overall, it's a great game.
Hello.
I kept going back and forth on whether to put Theme Hospital or Theme Park in here, but Theme Hospital just edged it. For me, Theme Hospital is more fun, it's more difficult, and frankly it's more interesting than Theme Park. Though I still love Theme Park. I mean, you've gotta love popping Homeboy's giant head, it's so satisfying. Alright, let me clear something up. Star Wars Phantom Menace is not the best Star Wars game. It isn't even my favourite Star Wars game. I mean, I'll probably do a top 10 Star Wars games soon. But it made it into my top 10 because this game made me more emotional than any computer game ever has. So here's the tale. When Phantom Menace first came out, there was a copy of it on the PS1 that you could try at the Currys, across the motorway from where I lived. So every day after school I'd go to Currys and I'd play on it. And I got so far as well, and this went on for a couple of weeks. Every day I'd go and play on it in Currys. Until one day I came across, and they had replaced Phantom Menace with Tomb Raider: The Last Revelations. God damn you, Lara Croft! I was genuinely heartbroken. Anyway, a few weeks later, my mum saw how upset I was and got me a copy. I completed it, I love it, I still love it, I still play it now. Star Wars Phantom Menace, great game. Tekken 1 was one of the first PlayStation games I ever got. In fact, it might have been the first. Everyone loves Tekken games. They're as good, if not even better, than the Street Fighters and the Mortal Kombats. And Tekken 3 is the best Tekken game. It took what worked in the previous games and it built on it. It introduced new fighters like Brian Fury, Hurang, and my personal favourite Jin Kazama, and Eddie Gordo. But if you used Eddie Gordo when you were playing against your friends, you're a monster and you should never be allowed to play Tekken. And Tekken 3 introduced this side-scroller game for the first time. Tekken 3 levels up on all other fighting games on the PlayStation 1.
You win.
What can I say about Crash Bandicoot that you guys don't already know? Crash is the Mario or the Sonic of the PlayStation 1. It's great, it's just light-hearted fun to be had by all the family. In fact, my 9-year-old daughter loves this game. Crash had so much to it. It had great characters, great levels, music, a great bad guy. It's not hard to see why Crash has lasted so long.
What have I got?
It's beautiful.
This only just pipped Crash in the list because I bought a lot of games on the PlayStation 1 that were like crossovers from films and TV shows. Like I had Evil Dead and Blade and South Park, Shaft's Love Shack and Simpsons Wrestling and loads of others. But Rugrats Search for Reptar is the best of these. It's so much fun, and it's not that difficult. It's like playing through an episode of the show. Except for that level with that goose with the teeth chasing after you. That thing still freaks me out.
Ah!
If there are two things I love more than anything else between the age of 11 and 15, it was computer games and it was wrestling. I have pretty much owned every wrestling game since the NES. I love wrestling games, and Know Your Role is one of the best, and it's probably the one I've spent the most amount of time playing. This roster is insane. I mean, you've got Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Chris Jericho, Triple H, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, Chyna, the Hardys, The Undertaker, Rikishi, Mankind. The list goes on and on and on. I Know Your Role was so full of cool stuff we hadn't seen before. There's this insane story mode where your decisions change the outcome. There was Iron Man matches, Hell in a Cell table matches. It featured the likes of Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle for the first time. Know Your Role was as close to reliving the Attitude Era as you could be. But why did my mum always seem to walk in as the Trish or Deborah loading screen was on?
What?
Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
In my opinion, it's the best Resident Evil game. The first Resident Evil game was groundbreaking. It created a whole new gaming genre. But Resident Evil 2, it took everything that worked in number 1 and it improved on it, and then removed everything that didn't work, like the shoddy camera angles and the hysterical voice acting. Resident Evil 2 is one of the greatest games of all time. It's scary, it's exciting, it's violent, it's challenging. I just wish that the stories for the Resident Evil games stayed as simple as the first two. There's a zombie breakout, shoot as many of them in the face as you can. I mean, why you gotta complicate it with giant slutty vampires? I have played a lot of games that got remastered for the PS4, like SpongeBob, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Jurassic World Evolution, Crash Bandicoots. I mean, they're great to see with updated graphics. But I have not, and I will not play the remastered Resident Evil games, as there is no need. This game is already perfect.
Resident Evil.
And number one, my favourite PlayStation 1 game is... It was obvious, right? What else could it have been? Metal Gear Solid was like being put into a 90s action movie. There were a lot of good action games before Metal Gear Solid came along, but when Metal Gear Solid did come along, it was game changing. The emphasis was put on stealth and skill rather than just shooting everything. Metal Gear Solid is one of a few that I say is a perfect game. From the plot to the gameplay to the controls, the list of characters. I mean, you've got Big Boss, Psycho Mantis, Revolver Ocelot, Sniper Wolf. And that's just some of the villains. It had so many cool things to it as well that people just never even thought of before. Like having to switch the joypad when you're fighting Psycho Mantis. And Homeboy could read your memory card and mugged you off for the games that you like to play. So congrats to Metal Gear. A phenomenal game and a fantastic entry in what was a critical series in PlayStation's history. So there it is, that's the first video for Nostalged Gaming. Nostalged Gaming moving forward will mostly be gameplay based. We'll get some retro games out, we'll play some, maybe get some special guests involved. And in new Nostalged news, we've had the vaccines, places are reopening, and we're heading out into the big wide world. I'm going to be attending a lot of Comic Cons this year, and starting off next year, we'll be announcing where we're going to be showing up closer to the time. But the shortlist so far is Stoke-on-Trent, Manchester Comic Con and Wales Comic Con.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
So if you're going to be there, drop me a message or comment on the videos. We'll meet up, we'll say hi, get you in the videos in your nice cosplays. So until next time, I'm Nostalged and you guys are gorgeous.